Hi, Martin Roberts here with you for another property masterclass. Part 2 in my, if you like, special masterclass on property auctions and buying property at auction. Make sure that you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to Martin Roberts Property Titbits, and make sure that you're aware of the other things that you can do in relation to your training. I run a whole training seminar program with Asset Academy where we can take you through the whole world of becoming a property investor and guide you with online and hopefully not before too long actual live property training opportunities. There's some great opportunities. Check out Making Money from Property, which is my brand with Asset Academy. There's lots of information on martinrobertspropertyeducation.com yeah, lots of things you can consider. In terms of auctions, I've actually got the Property Auction Masterclass, which I did, which is a 12-part downloadable online course which you can do, which really takes you from beginning to end in terms of the world of property. And of course, I've also got my book, which is the Property Auction Guide, which contains pretty much everything that I know about buying property at auction. But this little sequence for the masterclass on my YouTube channel is really just an overview of buying a property at auction. And I think in the first episode, which you might want to review if you haven't seen it yet, we looked at just the world of property auctions and a starting point of getting involved in the world of property auctions. It still amazes me that only 6% of properties are sold at auction. In the UK, 94% are sold via other means, and I am surprised because obviously I am a huge fan of auctions and the opportunities which they bring to those who are prepared and do their research and go in with their eyes open. There are some amazing opportunities, but why is that? Why is it that only 6% of properties are sold at auction? And I think it comes down to familiarity. I mean, auctions are not the traditional way that people have bought houses in the past. It's in the same way that, traditionally, if you wanted to buy a new car or a car, you'd go to a car showroom. And you would look at, the cars and compare them and then find one that you liked. In the same way, people, I suppose, are used to going to estate agents, looking at the houses that are available there. And that was the way it was done. And I think for many years, perhaps, property auctions were seen as places where slightly dodgy properties ended up, or ones that had something wrong with them, or nobody else wanted, or properties with issues, basically. And that's absolutely not the case. And hopefully one of the things that Homes Under the Hammer has done is demystify the world of property auctions and made people aware that normal properties end up in property auctions, and there are some bargains. Now, not all properties at auction are bargains, but there are bargains at property auctions, and your job is to sort out the good opportunities from the bad. And so the starting point for going along to an auction is no different to any property purchase process. You need to decide what you want, and you need to buy a house that's fit for purpose. So if you're looking for a place to live, then we're looking at a house that ticks your boxes, that makes you contented with life, that makes a nice place for you to bring up your family. And so there's lots of different criteria that will come into that equation when you're thinking about buying. On the other hand, you might be looking at somewhere that you're going to rent out, in which case, who are you going to rent to? What is your market? Is it students? In which case, is the property near a university or on a good bus link to a university? Are you looking at building or renovating a house which you're going to sell on? So what is the market in that particular area? What's the market, what's the rental market like if you're going to a buy-to-let market? the basic decision-making processes, and then how much you've got to spend, how much you're willing to commit, how much money you're going to put into renovation, how many skills you have that will enable you to do up a property, and if not, how much is it going to cost you to bring in those skills? So the process in terms of deciding what to buy at auction is no different than the process for buying a house by any other means, really. And that has to be the starting point. So don't get hooked up on the fact that it's going to an auction. That's just the route to market. The process has to start with, is this a good property? But one thing auctions have is they have, a wide variety, more often than not, of opportunities available to you. So in one auction catalogue, you will find all sorts of opportunities, from huge houses that need multiple amounts of work, to tiny places that need very little work, to student accommodation, to derelict ruins, to former castles, to toilets, to bits of land, to absolutely everything. And it's almost like a smorgasbord, an exciting time to look through an auction catalogue and look at all these opportunities. It's like a kiddie in a sweet shop sometime. And bear in mind that there are hundreds and hundreds of auctions taking place throughout the country, throughout the year. There's this mass of properties that you presented, and sometimes it can seem a little bit overwhelming. And I think one of the things I say to people is start local. Start at your local auction house, and you have to, as I said in the first part of this little series on auctions, you start with getting familiar with the whole auction process, be that by going along to a household auction, as in, bric-a-brac, be that by going along to a car auction or whatever, just to make yourself familiar with the process. And likewise, for a property auction, you should probably go along to a property auction before you are in a process of thinking you're going to buy, to get a flavour of what it's like. Is really exciting. I mean, at the moment, obviously, we can see that the actual real life property auctions, are on pause. And they will be until, if you're watching this, maybe they've released sometime in the future, maybe they've released that now, and property auctions are back to how they were. But currently, as it stands in July 2020, we've seen, a little bit of a hiccup in real life auctions, but that has opened up the world more and more of online auctions. So you can scoot about the country and see all the opportunities that are available. So the starting point has to be deciding on the kind of thing you want to invest in. Now, there's a great website called EIG Group, and they do list all the auction properties that are coming up throughout the country. So you can put in criteria into their search engine. So it will say if you're looking for 2-bedroom flats around 30 miles around Derby, it will flag up any 2-bedroom flats 30 miles radius of Derby that come up at auctions. It's a great tool. But otherwise, it's a case of picking a local property auction, and that's really good because you more often than not will know a local area, and so you can, if you like, pick on properties in an area that you know, and go through the process, go and have a look. The way that it works, the process is that somebody decides they're going to sell their property to auction. That property then goes into the auction catalogue. The auction catalogue is then produced about 6 weeks before the auction itself, and you've got a period where you can go and look at those properties. So you can go and have a look around the property, go round with somebody who knows what they're talking about, like a builder or a surveyor, and just get a flavour of the kind of things that are coming up. But just be aware that you might find something you really like. So unless you're in a position financially to go ahead, whatever you do, don't just stumble into buying somewhere, because you might go along to the auction and think, oh my gosh, that property such and such went for so little money, or it went for too much money, or whatever. But it's all about the learning process. It's all about familiarisation, which I think is a really important thing to do. So the starting point for all of this, as I said, has to be finding the kind of property that you're interested in, and then looking at the different auction catalogues that are out there, and just honing in on that particular property, and try not to be too wide at the start. Say to yourself, right, What I'm looking for is a 3-bedroom semi-detached in need of modernisation. I want it to be in a, good schools, and I want it to cost me less than £80,000. And then you've got a set of criteria. So write down your criteria. Write down what you're looking for now, and then just start to look around the country at the various auctions for properties that might meet your criteria. And you can go on all the various property websites, and you'll get an idea of what those kind of properties in those kind of areas will cost. Like an average 3-bed semi, in striking distance of London is going to be, what is it going to be, 600 grand or whatever. An average 3-bed semi, within striking distance of Derby or whatever it might be 120 grand. All sorts of things come into play. So work out what it is that's of interest to you, and then start honing it down and focusing in on various auctions that might have that on offer. That's it for this little section. I'm trying to break these down into manageable chunks. You can always watch them back to back, you know that. But for now, take a little bit of a breather. Next time, I'll probably take a look at the kind of properties that end up in auctions and why people go through the auction process rather than any other means, and the first steps that you can take in terms of preparing yourself for the actual auction itself. But for now, like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure the other opportunities are out there, martinrobertspropertyeducation.com, and of course my book, The Property Auction Guide, is all there to help you along with the Property Auction Masterclass. But for now, thank you for watching this little segment on buying property at auction.